Will is your host. Thank you so kindly for being here. Good morning, Houston. Buenos dias. Good morning to Harris County. Good morning to the state of Texas. Of course, good morning, United States of America. Good morning, the rest of the world. How's everybody doing today? I know we're all doing fine because, we're just getting out of the weekend, baby. And here in Texas, it's not as hot as it has been. In fact, for this tropical kind of guy, it's very, very cool this morning at a great 60 degrees. Oh, I'm freezing. Anyhow, folks, let's go ahead and talk to our resident geniuses in the control room. How are my peeps doing?
Thank you, Egberto. We are doing just fine. You are talking about the 58 degrees and 60 degrees being freezing. Well, after the summer of total, bakery, I suppose that is freezing. But we're doing
Yes.
pretty good this morning. Let's see. We almost started to let Mark Antoine's Unity play through your theme and let you come in after that. But Harry would have been happy, but you might not have been. So we're going to
Come
get
on,
the
I'm
show.
an easygoing guy, man. Come on,
Oh yeah, but that's like a 7 minute long song. So
Oh, okay,
we'll
okay,
we'll
okay.
be hijacking your show here for music, which
Oh
we're
man.
going to have later on today. So I want you to tune in for that. We've got our brand new lineup starting today. Marcus will be taking Monday and Tuesday, 9:30 to noon. Clint Broussard is going to step up and do Wednesday, 9:30 to noon, Wednesday and Thursday. Then I will be returning to the radio regularly on Fridays for Rockin' Fridays and Request Fridays too. So it's going to
I
be
am
a
gonna have to I'm gonna have to set my alarm, man, because the man is back.
oh Lord, train wrecks abound here. Now we have some wisdom from Jack. Speaking of untrained wrecks, Jack, what you got?
I'm an untrained wreck. Okay, this is good morning, Egberto.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, this is for the ladies. Ladies, we have not forgotten your struggle with police pulling suspicious looking women seeking refuge from the cruelty of the men in politics who seek domination over women's bodies using the religious right to keep them in power with their vote. Come on, men, take responsibility for your part. Stand with and support the women and their struggle with women's reproductive rights.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Couldn't have said it any better. Well, guys, thank you so kindly. Folks, today we have a great lineup for you. First of all, the three topics. I'm still trying to figure out which one I'm going to do first as I'm speaking to you right now. Gaetz lies again, swing voters breaking Biden. Pence slams Trump MAGA, West Virginia left. Welcome aboard, Melanie Keelan. Me equivoqué podcast. ¿Cómo estás, mi hermana? En Barcelona, Spain. All right, we have the subtitle is Matt Gaetz lies on Meet the Press about Trump's economy and tax cuts. Swing voters so far are breaking for Biden. And we have some evidence of that in the way some Republicans and moderates are thinking in Pennsylvania. Pence grew a spine and dings Trump and MAGA in a recent interview. And West Virginia is ripe to go left. West Virginia is ripe to go left. I think I'm going to start there. A lot of folks, tomorrow I'm supposed to have Daniel Cohen, president of Indivisible Houston, talking about the vote in Harris County. But as you know, Harris County is a bellwether, and as a bellwether, the rest of the country is watching. Anyway, folks, remember there are several ways to get our program. First of all, you can go ahead and turn that dial to 90.1 FM Houston, and you can listen on air. Alternatively, go ahead and download the TuneIn app at the Apple Store or the Android Store. Alternatively, and look for KPFT, and you can find us there. You can both our channels, the HD1 channel and the HD2 channel. Both of them are always active. You can also go to kpft.org, kpft.org, and click that listen button while you're there. Remember, this is a public radio station, a community radio station, and as such, we're always in need of your support. So go ahead and hit donate, and please donate in the name of Politics Done Right. Later on this week starts our fund drive, but we are going to continue to have programming here on Politics Done Right because I'm going to say my dear brothers and sisters who listen every morning are going to go ahead and make sure that I can raise that amount, that hourly amount of about $300 I got to raise every day. I'm pretty sure that while we're talking here, you guys are going to make sure to call in and keep that going. Likewise, you can watch us right now with my Rock Knox shirt on. Is it Rock Knox? Rock Shocks. Uh, Biking shirt on. You can go to facebook.com/KPFT Houston. We'll be right there. You can go to as well listen on YouTube by going to politicsdoneright.tv, politicsdoneright.tv. Of course, all the podcast clips, etc., can be gotten at politicsdoneright.com/podcast. So if I don't get to a particular subject, you can always find what we intended to talk about today by going to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter for the entire program and politicsdoneright.com/podcast to get the clips. Again, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter for everything we don't cover. Folks, this is a call-in show. Give us a call, 713-526-5738. Look, this is your show, and I really mean it is your show. In as much as I prepare the program, if you call in and want to talk about something else, that's what we do. And the reason why we do that, again, like I said, you can always get the show online, the clips that we intended to cover, etc., etc., etc. Anyway, let's go ahead and get busy. Don't forget, though, give us a call, 713-526-5738, 713-526-5738, extension number 2. Okay, the first subject I'm going to tackle is not the video. It's actually an article from Common Dreams. As you guys know, I love Common Dreams. It's one of those rags. It's not the standard news rag. It's a rag of good journalists really wanting to make a difference. And today's article actually is put out by Richard Escrow. And the reason I brought that article is because I want to contrast it with an article written by another somebody. I don't call him a friend, it's an acquaintance that I've met at certain conferences, and that is the one and only let me back up. I want to cover the one from, I think, Teach Out. That's the contrasted to one of those articles. Anyway, let's go ahead and start with the Common Dream article, because it says, could the left actually win back Trump country? Trump country being, they're talking about West Virginia, and the reason I use that is West Virginia would seem to be even more red than Texas, and we know if you look at Congress, our legislature, we have supermajority of Republicans, a supermajority of MAGAs here in Texas. So you would think Texas is red. I have been talking about Texas not being red, this country not being red. I've been talking about this country being a progressive country to everybody who would listen. And my contention is that we have to get out. We have to start using the Howard Reynolds corollary. And what is the Howard Reynolds corollary? The Howard Reynolds, our master engineer out there in the studio, is vote. Vote, vote. You look at the voter participation in primaries that actually give us those who we are going to vote for in the final election, and you understand what is occurring with the country. And all those elitists in Washington have it wrong. They don't understand people. They don't understand their fellow brothers and sisters. You all know that my way of being, my belief is that, when we talk about love everybody, etc., it's not something to sound nice, right? It's about meeting people, and as you meet people, as you watch people, you realize all the theories that you have when you watch national TV or when you watch all these, it's wrong. Look, I live in a very conservative area in a blue county. And the interesting thing about the conservative, am I happy? Yeah. Would I have liked more folks to be liberal and progressive? Yeah. But here's the kicker. Ironically, my very conservative folks, when it comes to their personal wants and needs, they're pretty damn progressive. But they all follow this cultural way of being to be where they are, and that is the section that the elitist consultants specifically to the Democratic Party fail to see. Are these people in general that we like to think have horns nice? Do you all remember the stories I talk about when I have great interaction with people here in the in my community, and when one woman realized that I was a very, very progressive, very left guy. When have great conversation, just fine. Share the same kind of interests, etc. And then when I finally opened up and said, "But I'm a left-wing progressive, real left of probably left of Bernie Sanders," she looked at me straight in the eye and said, "But you're so nice." But it wasn't me being nice; it's me being us, right? And that is what folks fail to see. It's easy to caricature people. So, getting back to this article, could the left actually win back Trump country in West Virginia? The left never lost it. The left never lost it. The right never won it. So, here we go. I spoke with Troy, executive producer of Zero Hour, in his capacity as member of the executive committee of the West Virginia Democratic Party. We discussed the party's recent adoption of an updated version of FDR's Economic Bill of Rights. And anybody who wants to understand what the middle class really wants and need, look up on my site, egbertowillies.com. I'm just telling you to look up because I have it all partitioned along with the video. Second Bill of Rights, Roosevelt. Okay, I have it with a video and some text around to kind of give it some context. Anyway, could it revive their political fortunes? Here's a clue from something I wrote several years ago and never published. This is from Richard Esco. It concerns McDowell County, West Virginia, the state's poorest county, which I researched as Bernie Sanders' speechwriter for a speech he gave there in 2016. Coastal journalists view rural people as an alien species. That is, when they think of them at all, when they cover them, they sound like amateur entomologists pondering the consciousness of bugs under glass, snake handling features prominently in their coverage, even though it's only practiced in a tiny handful of mostly informal churches. According to the media narrative, in 2016, the reptile loving hillbillies of journalistic imagination embraced another cold blooded creature, Donald Trump. A typical post election photo essay on McDowell County was headlined, This county gives a glimpse at the America that voted Trump into office. Step right up, city folks. See the strange creatures with whom you share a nation. It gets better, folks. It gets better. The county's voting results fed the media perennial appetite for exoticizing rural people. Oh, make rural people exotic. Those crazy people. Not true. By the way, my first instance in America was in a place called Brenham, Texas. And I don't mean the Brenham, Texas of today. I mean the Brenham, Texas of yesteryear, when Brenham, Texas was fairly rural and all of that. And I tell you, this kid from Panama went to Brenham and was embraced in Brenham. I have some issues that have happened. I wrote about that in one of my books called Tribulations of an Afro-Latino Caribbean Man. But I tell you something, I still loved Brenham, Texas. Rural town, people care about people, and all the issues that you have, racially and otherwise, there as well. But you know what? I enjoyed Brenham, but I'll talk about that another time. The county's voting results fed the media's perennial appetite for exoticizing rural people, making them exotic. And yet, despite coverage like why the poorest county in West Virginia has faith in Donald Trump, the picture wasn't nearly as clear as their coverage would have it. For one thing, McDowell County's population was 8.2% black, which isn't all that different from the national average of 12.4%. Actually, I don't know if I agree with him. 8% versus 12% is huge. That's a 30% swing. Okay, come on now. But that's what he wrote. And yet, black people rarely figured in their condescending Beverly Hillbillies team narrative. They got the politics wrong too. Here's how McDowell County voted in the 2016 primaries: 785 votes, Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton, 817 votes. Bernie Sanders, 1,488 votes. In other words, Bernie Sanders likely got almost the same amount of votes as Clinton and Trump combined. That's right. The Democratic Socialists got more votes than Trump or Clinton by a factor of nearly 2-1. The general election results were as follows, however. Hillary Clinton, 1,438 votes, less than Sanders received in the primary. Donald Trump got 4,629 votes. And the amount of people who declined to participate was 11,433. So the amount of people that didn't participate was almost twice as much as the combined vote of Hillary and Donald Trump. That's the magic. That is saying neither one of them spoke to most people. So calling that 25% of the people voted for Donald Trump and that made it MAGA country is futile. It actually says you're not doing your homework. It's actually saying, hey, nobody won. This is a county that cares about neither of them. Okay? So you have to go deeper. You have to go deeper. And that's not what the elitists in Washington do as they're advising Democrats at all. They're just looking at the people who are activated. What they should be looking at or what they should be saying to themselves is shame. Because what they're saying is that Trump was able to activate more of those people than they were able to go get. And the pool of people to be activated is much greater than the combined vote of the Republicans and the Democrats. So while we use the voting results as somehow maligning hillbillies, maligning different kind of folk, and they, all of this, we have to look at it, look at it as if it were an engineering problem. And the engineering problem says that what we're seeing so far is not what America truly is. What America truly is a scared nation that doesn't know. I know the vote, people are going to say, but look at what the polls say. It shows that the numbers are close between Biden and Trump. These votes says that shouldn't surprise you at all, right? And it shouldn't surprise you because until somebody comes out there and really says the things that how I am going to make life better. I know a lot of folks like to say some people vote against their own interests because of racial issues. That's true. Some people vote against their better interests because of culture. That is true. But let me tell you a story. And those who have listened to my program for a long time, and Harry, I'm coming to you, but I want to get this thought out first. Those who have listened to my program for a long time, remember me telling this story, which I also wrote in As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. It's a story about the Obama election in 2016. I originally, when, as a person who caucused with the Democrats, I was going to, I was supporting initially Hillary Clinton. And why was I doing it? My thing is what is best for society as a whole that can win, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that was my belief. Wrong, but that was my belief early in 2015, I believe it was. And, the election kept on moving on, and, Obama started to gain some traction. uh, Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton said something in South Carolina when Jesse Jackson won that pissed me off. What did Clinton, in effect, did the same thing that a lot of right wingers would do in the way they disparaged the black vote. The black vote went for Jesse Jackson, and they made the impression that the black vote went for Jesse Jackson because, hey, black people vote for black people, white people vote for white people. Look, I can tell you, in the case of black folk vote for the people that they somehow think gonna screw them the least. That's what generally happens, right? And so, in the case of what happened with Jesse Jackson and Hillary Clinton, that's how that population felt. That's how that population felt there. And Bill Clinton disparaged it, and I was like, oh no, he proves to be that that was just an act about being going and trying. Anyway, after that, I gave Obama a second look. I need to back up from some of that stuff with the Jesse Jackson thing because I'm mixing up two different elections, but forget about that for now. Um, but I jumped on to the Obama thing when Clinton said something about his wife. That's what it was, his wife, not Jesse Jackson. But anyhow, uh, I still was a bit hesitant, but all here in Kingwood and in other places, I was watching how Obama was growing. And I mean, here in Kingwood, a whole lot of Republicans were having house parties because Obama had gone to the universities and he had turned these students out and turned them on. And they were coming home and talking about this great guy and bringing their books for their parents to read. And I mean, I was in shock here in Kingwood, the amount of homes that were there supporting Obama and all of that. So, I'm like, wow, because we're canvassing for him, etc. I was still hopeful, but thinking, this guy can't win the election. No black man's gonna win an election in 2008 in the United States of America. And then the people caucusing in Pennsylvania were going from home to home in working class neighborhoods. And the canvasser went to this home, and he went, and the woman was at the door, and he said, "Hey, who are you voting for?" They're taking things down, and the people said, "I am." The wife turned around to the husband. I don't know why she thought she needed to do this, but she turned to the husband and she said, "Honey, who are we voting for?" And the husband said, "Let them know that we're voting for the N guy." And you know what N is? The N word guy. Okay. At that point, people take offense and all of that to that. The words don't mean a damn thing to me. I laugh at people who say different kind of things because to me it's like a mental deficiency that folks have. But anyhow, that's what the person said. I'm voting for the N person. I remember coming home and saying, "Oh my God, Obama is going to win the election." And the reason I said that is it's he was able to supersede people's prejudices. That's what that meant. And I'm using the same corollary, not corollary, but the same way when we talk about West Virginia and other parts of America. People have all kinds of reasons that have no economic value for why they vote. But ultimately, when things get to a particular stage, that is superseded. That is what progressives in, I shouldn't say progressives, Democrats in red states have failed to do by having these armchair elitist liberals in Washington dictating how you are going to talk to people, who you are going to talk to, who you are going to respect. The respect that you give people determine their vote. Democrats and the policies they support or purport to support. Notice I didn't say just support. Policies Democrats purport to support. If they went into these places, and I don't mean during elections or 5 months before an election or 6 months before election, but be a part of the community. I can tell you what I see in Kingwood, Texas, a very red area that shouldn't be red. I see investment in churches. I see investment in clubs. I see investments in all these things where they're touching people, they're hugging people, they're backslapping people. I tell you what, I don't see in Kingwood, though we've tried it with our organizations, our democratic organizations in Kingwood. There was a time that for a short time, I was the president of the Kingwood area Democrats. And I tell you one thing that as president, I did, and I see other great guys like the current president of the Humboldt area Democrats and others doing the touchy-feely thing, talking to the people, everybody, not making assumptions about people. I see that type of engagement that isn't supported by the finances of the party. In other words, what am I saying? It's not the people, it's the engagement with the people. It's the respect you give to the people. When I make the statement, when we unite Appalachia, the barrios, and the ghettos, that is exactly what I mean. And who is going to do that other than the people that are able to do that on the ground? Not an elitist putting out an ad on TV. Not an elitist trying to do a phone poll and then saying this is what the poll says. That doesn't work, because the people that you want to answer the phone for a poll are not the people that you want to actually go out there and vote. Anyway, let's go to Harry. Come on into the fold, brother Harry.
Good morning. Nice to be in the fold again, Roberto. I trust that you had a good weekend with your family.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Well, what I wanted to comment on is Thursday's show in the last 10 minutes. I was just kudos and couldn't be happier. I applauded you in the last 10 minutes because I talked to you earlier
Yes,
on the
sir.
show. You had a guy named Bart that called up talking about people who do not want to follow Trump's saying of "Make America Great Again" to get out of this country. And I wanted to elaborate on that. Trump stole that line from Ronald Reagan when he kicked off his campaign tour in 1980 in Pulaski, Tennessee, where the Ku Klux Klan was created, "Make America Great Again." And I wanted to also comment on a Republican contributor who was supportive of the Iran, the Contra and the Sandinista war. I know you've heard of her. Her name is Anna Navarro.
Yes, absolutely.
And she made some comments when Trump was running in 2016. He just said, it's not "Make America Great Again." Trump was talking about "Make America Hate Again." Let's take this country back to a Jim Crow time where blacks were segregated. Native people were also involved being segregated, and other people of color are being segregated, and white people control and run everything, and we live in a segregated society. He was talking to white supremacy people, and I'm glad you set him straight when you said that these people of color, when they say that, when was America ever great for them? You look at the slavery, you look of the African, you look at the slaughtering of the native people, and you look at how the Chinese were mistreated when they came here to work on the railroad, and they had to deal with all these stereotypes and characters. And you were saying how, telling Bart that, look, America was never great for those people. Those people just want to be on the same level playing field as white people. That's why they fought so hard for all to get equal rights. And white people in the today have, with the Supreme Court and all the way it is, have just tried to take the progress that colored people have made in this country away. So you were saying America was never great for these people, but so I applaud you on that you did that. And I remember you did a show in when you used to have your show at 12 noon. You did a show one day with Professor Richard Wolff, and
Yes.
Richard Wolff was talking about capitalism. He was talking about after World War II how the United States became the dominant currency, and we had 75 years of being the leader in the world, and everybody shared in that prosperity. And I remember I was listening to that day, and I remember you saying to Professor Wolff, no, and you said not everybody. You were talking about the racism and the racial disparities that go on. So kudos to you, Alberto. I'm glad you set Bart right, and he also said some things on Friday when he was talking about crime and how there's so much crime going on in Houston, and I believe a couple of callers of yours set him straight that he didn't have his facts right, and then you wanted to tell him, you told him where you live in Kingwood, in the book that you wrote, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Neighbor, that you're an activist and you're trying to get everybody on the same level playing field. And like you said there a little while ago in your piece, you were talking about how white America feeling wrong, MAGA people, they want the same thing that liberals want, but they are just afraid, and they're afraid that something's being taken from them because the demographics in this country have been changing, and they're just not used to that. And then you have racists like Donald Trump and other racists in the Republican Party, like a Jim Jordan or Ron DeSantis or Josh Hawley, people like that, who spew off all this racism to scare white people. And then the white people who are not racist get scared into thinking, well, I better vote for these conservatives and take America back because we're losing something if we have colored people be on the same level playing field, because the racist ones, the white America feeling wrong, or the MAGA people you want to call, feel that, oh, these colored people are taking over and taking our country. Well, it was never your country. You're an immigrant like other people, and it was the native people's country, and you just want to keep white supremacy and white dominance going. And it's just that can't that can't continue. We
Harry,
have to be a country where we're all one. Go ahead.
Harry, let me first say, you had a whole lot to say, and I really wanted to continue letting you say it because, again, you were just very helpful to me. Because, a lot of times I'm a talking head here saying things, and just to hear you repeat things that happened yesterday, things that happened with Richard Wolff, and some of the stuff that I said today makes it that I'm connecting. So I thank you for listening, and I thank you also for yeah. So again, thank you. I need to go to another call. Give me a quick one sentence to move on.
Okay, I just say that we all have to be as one. We all are human beings. We all want the same things, and we just have to learn, as Jesus talks about in many of those gospel books, that we have to treat each other the same and love one another, and not hold the fact. Unfortunately, we cannot. Some people just have trouble dealing with this and getting it.
Thank you, Harry. Hey, Harry, thank you. Here's the deal, Harry. I'm gonna tease you a little bit. Damn it, bro. I'm asking you for one sentence and you gave me 10.
I know.
All right, brother. Look, hey.
I feel very strongly about this, and I was very angry at Bart.
I got you, brother. No, I got you, brother. I got you. I just had to play with you. Brother. Got you. All right, take care. Let's go to Donald. Come on in, Donald. You too, brother. Donald, come on in.
Good morning, Egberto. How are you today?
I am fine, sir. How is my good old Donald doing this morning?
Okay, I think you got your facts wrong, because I think that Obama was from Chicago, if I believe right. So
yes, he was.
I don't know exactly where he's at, but if his wife looked at him, he said he was going to vote for his neighbor. I didn't know he lived in Kingwood, Obama.
Oh no! You must have misunderstood what I said.
I'm messing with you.
Okay, but I was gonna. What is Donald talking about?
He voted for his neighbor, so that's okay. they've gone from shaking hands and kissing babies to now they go to you kiss their hand and they might shake your baby to get it away from them. That's it.
Why do you do this to me, Donald? Why do you do this to me, Donald? Donald. Hey, thank you, my brother. You have a great day, okay?
Later. Yes,
All right.
sir. You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Let's go to Will. Come on in, Will.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, I was actually wondering about, what the events in Israel have just been so dramatic and surprising. I was wondering why no one had brought that up yet.
All right, let me be very honest with you. I purposefully didn't bring up Israel and Palestine. And the reason why is and hear me out a bit here, okay? Because I want to be very careful with what I'm going to say here. My activism and my journalism is about progressive values, social justice, racial justice in the United States, with the expectation that we promote it elsewhere. Economic justice. That's my thing. If I get deeply into the Israel-Palestinian fight right now, the Israel-Palestinian opinion space right now, it will detract from my main purpose. There are others who do that. And let me explain why. And I'm going to just say a short thing, and then I'm going to let you ask the question. And if I decide to answer, I will. But I found it, first of all, anybody who wants to learn a lot about what's going on right now in Israel and Palestine on mainstream media, I suggest the only place you listen to it is with Ali Velshi and Hassan, as well as Ayan Mohayyadin on MSNBC. That's the only place you are going to get objective information on the Israel-Palestinian event. Those three journalists, that's the only ones that I've watched all over the network that has accurate information without trying to malign anybody. Now, that said, what occurred in Israel is horrific. If my kid, my daughter, my mother, my brother, anybody else was pulled out of their home, 700 of them murdered and taken to another land, another country, oh yeah, I would be upset. I would be upset and mad. That is barbaric. But also barbaric is when the same thing happens on any land or any territory. And what you saw occur in Israel on Sunday morning is the life experience on a daily basis with deaths, etc., in Gaza and the West Bank. And that said, I'm not getting into the politics specifically, but I'm saying the same maiming, deaths, but on a constancy is what's occurring in these places. And if you watch CNN, ABC, CBS, and all these stories, you would never know that. You were never informed of that. You were never informed of that. All you know of the Palestinian-Israeli issue right now, and we're not getting into the politics about it, is that there are a hell of a lot of dead of our Israeli brothers and sisters at the behest of a terrorist organization called Hamas. That's all you know. But you don't know anything much else going on. That is all I'm willing to really say about the issue, Brother Will. Talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts are basically just the double standard where you have so many people talking about how we need to be sending billions of dollars of weapons to Ukraine to resist occupation from Russia. Mm-hmm. In the meantime, we're actually sending money to Israel on a scale that really no other country can match. Mm-hmm. They're the actual colonial oppressors. And I think that your framing is for the most part correct. I would also add that, under international law, even violent resistance is actually legal against the occupation. And, frankly, there have been nonviolent protests on a massive scale. And the protesters were just picked off by Israeli snipers and murdered. So, as John F. Kennedy said, when you make nonviolent revolution impossible, you make violent revolution inevitable. And I think that's part of what we're seeing right now.
Again, I'm not going to argue that you're correct because you know where my heart is. It's just that that isn't my particular area to activate for, if you will. But I leave that to you, and you got your platform to put out a reality. So like I said, this is y'all's show, and I appreciate I appreciate you bringing some reality to the program. Anything else you want to add, Will?
Oh yeah, just thanks for having me on. I really appreciate the chance to talk, and I certainly understand everyone has their own area of focus. But yeah, thanks again.
All right, my brother, you have a great day now. Okay, let's go ahead and bring the other caller in. I think it's going to be Shar something, but come on in. How are you doing?
Good. I'm hoarse, but pretty good.
Who am I speaking to?
Thanks for my call. Thanks for taking my call. I have a displeasure about one thing.
Yes, ma'am. First of all, I didn't get your name. Give me your name.
Oh, I'm short. Miss Gray.
Miss Gray. Okay. Hello, Miss Gray.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Good morning to everybody. I hope you're feeling good. Listen, I have an issue with a young man who, and I guess he's not the only one, but they wait until the very last minute to send information about voting. I've had a lot of things going on this year, a lot of things, adversity, errors pointed at me and all that. And I, distracted from some things, especially politics, trying to take care of my health. I received mail on Saturday regarding, guess what? Early vote. If I don't vote early this year, this will be the first time this has ever happened to me. That was supposed to be my reminder for early vote. When you have to do something by the 10th of the month.
Oh, I got you. In other words, you have to do it by the 10th and you're just receiving it yesterday.
Right. Why you wait until the very last minute to begin doing things?
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. It's mindless. You would expect better of those people, because I think they should know better. It doesn't give a person time to do anything, nothing. And so, like I said, I might not even be able to vote because of that.
Well, actually, the deadline for voting, I believe, is either today or tomorrow to register to vote. I think it's either today or tomorrow. And those mailers should have gone out a long time ago.
But that's why I say it's mindless for you to drop this off in the mail and have me get it on the Saturday before this is supposed to occur.
Right. I'm with you.
Number one, I happen to be one of those people who cannot move around unless someone takes me someplace. I don't drive anymore because of my vision.
Right.
And I have other issues going along too. The good Social Security people have been denying me care for a good 4 years now, and I've been battling that on my own, so it's a difficult thing. And I'm sure there are other people who have things going on in their life too that don't make such things easily accessible.
Right. Let me ask you something, ma'am, about your voting situation. Let me ask you, are you registered to vote or not?
I've always been registered to vote and have always voted. But
Okay,
because they're messing with your ability to do so, you don't want to be dealt with in such a manner.
No. Here's what I'm asking. Are you talking about you're not talking about the ballot that you received, right?
Mail. I've been voting by mail for years. Okay.
The ballot by mail. The ballot by mail is not what's due on the 10th. Okay, it's registration to vote that's due, I think, on the 10th. So there's a difference. The ballot by mail is not due on the 10th. Okay. So if you have a ballot by mail, that's not the deadline for the ballot by mail. It's the registering to vote that is the deadline for the 10th.
Well, I've
Oh,
been ready to vote.
so if you're already registered to vote, then you are still going to be able to vote. And if for some reason, and let me just say this, if
Hey,
some, so make sure you read the paperwork correctly because the 10th is
listen,
for registration.
listen, my dear. You have people in Austin
Hmm.
who have set out a rule that says you cannot send anybody anything regarding voting by mail unless it is requested.
Right. Did you request it?
Now, well, this is what I'm saying. Before, always it was requested and I always received it, whether I reminded them or not.
Okay.
It's set up. The way it's set up, you are not certain whether you're going to get it or not.
Well, let me tell you, Miss Gray, here's what I'd like to tell you because I need to go to the other caller, but I want you to do this for me.
Okay.
Uh, Send me an email at info@politicsdoneright.com. Info@politicsdoneright.com.
No. I don't have the ability to do that,
Oh, okay.
unfortunately.
Okay. Well, let me ask you to do something else. If you are comfortable enough, leave your number with Jack, and what we'll do is make sure and set you up so that somebody, if you can't vote by mail, somebody can pick you up to go vote. Okay.
All right. All right.
So do that for me. We won't, everybody has the right to vote. So that's what that. So
Yes.
if you are comfortable with doing that, and that's what we'll do, make sure that you get a right to
All
vote
right.
if you
I'm
can't
fine.
vote by mail.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I'm fine with that.
Thank you very
Okay.
much, ma'am. You have a wonderful rest of your day.
And you also. Thank you.
All right. All right, Johnny, come on in, my dear mayor of Politics Done Right.
Speaking of politics done right, yes, Saturday came in the mail from Galveston County a circular, not a circular, it was a little pamphlet, and I read through it, and I came
Hmm.
across something interesting that I was not aware of. So it's a good thing, just by accident, I read through it. On the 7th of next month, I think you guys were maybe talking about it just now. On the
Uh-huh.
7th of next month, the state of Texas voters will have a chance to weigh in on, I think, 15 or 18 different state of Texas propositions or amendments to the Constitution, and some of them
Yes.
are wacky
Tell me
mouthy.
about it. We went over that. Go ahead. Let me hear what's just wacky one to you.
Hell, we can discuss 3 or 4 of them in detail each time for the next few days, but that's not why I called. I
Okay.
wanted to double with Will's excellent observation, as usual, pointing out our country's double standard when it comes to foreign policy, how
Mhm.
we, I agree, rightfully, that is my exception as a peace person and who doesn't believe in standing armies, our rightful position for supporting Ukraine against the big nasty bear to their east, while at the same time we are acting like a big bear supporting Israel, who's pouncing upon the poor Palestinians. And to dovetail that comment, I would say that what happened with Israel, it didn't happen in a vacuum. This is the result of decades and decades of abuse and outright a slaughter of a people. And, what goes around comes around. And I criticized NPR a few days ago for 3 or 4 times in the first 2 hours when I woke up on Saturday, where they mentioned this incursion of Israel, and it was all one-sided. And then I hear about Joe Biden and the Biden administration supporting Israel, but there's no word of full context, no full context, and that's why the American people are done a disservice. You did a good thing by mentioning where people could go if they insist on following their news from mainstream media, like Ali Velshi, with regards to Israel and Palestine right now. So I would just add that, because lacking full context, NPR does us a disservice to democracy.
Yeah, let me just tell you, Johnny, I've been watching the whole thing in horror. And let me just say, the human side, you feel horrendous for what, I saw them putting this young woman in a van, taking her to Gaza. I know, kidnapping her to Gaza. I know the horror in that girl's heart. I know the terror that's going through that girl. I saw those kids at that concert being gunned down. I felt the terror that they felt. Well, rather, I can empathize with the terror that they felt. But I want just, but you know who else I empathize with? I empathize with the terror that the Palestinians feel when those buildings are falling down from a country that has all these weapons to decimate these areas under the pretext that we're trying to get the small percentage of terrorists in these lands. You wonder how hate gets fomented. And I'm not going to stay on this subject because I will get into it and it's not my area. So, anyway, Johnny, anything else you want to add?
Well, I know it's not your area, according to what you said, which surprised me to hear that. But I would say what got to me was when the parents of Rachel Corrie were told that her daughter was crushed to death by a Israeli bulldozer
Right.
back on the eve of the United States war making on the people of Iraq. This is a year and a half after 9/11 happened. Rachel
Mhm.
Corrie was a young activist who had a conscience. She was from the the Pacific Northwest of the United States,
Right.
and she was there to help defend a Palestinian family. And they bulldozed their house and they crushed her to death in front of all those people. And that's
Well,
just one example.
they also
Dozens of-
shot the reporter. They also shot a reporter who was reporting
Right.
what was occurring. So I mean,
That's right.
it's common. But anyway, Johnny, let me jump to Derek. All right,
I would
Johnny.
just say that the Israeli government, not the Israeli people necessarily. Just
No,
like,
we're talking the
you know,
government. Yes.
right. That's why I criticize. I criticize the U.S. government because of Republicans, and I criticize the Israeli government because of the stranglehold that the right wingers, i.e., Netanyahu, has on them.
Okay, Johnny, I gotta go. Thank you, Mayor Johnny. I need to go to Derek. So come on in, Derek. Thank you, Johnny. Derek, come on in.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Absolutely, Johnny. I've heard a young Israeli person Jewish person that called the radio station yesterday, and he's absolutely right. He says that he's white and Jewish, but he hears no balance in the report, and he wants to hear both sides, and I don't blame him because in Israel, Netanyahu has been doing very, very badly, very, very poorly, and a lot of people wanted him out. Then all of a sudden, here we go, another that now Hamas has attacked Israel. Israel is at war, but we have to ask the question now. They are more sophisticated than any other areas over there. What happened to their intelligence? See, you can fool people with that who buy into that.
I know exactly what you're saying, Derek. Derek, you nailed it. I never believe it until you said that. Until you said that, I never thought about it. Wow. And everybody that's listening, understand what Derek is saying. He's saying the most sophisticated intelligence organization missed a very sophisticated operation against their own people when Netanyahu is in trouble. Maybe he needed this to happen. Oh, wow. I got to munch that a bit. There, Derek, that's a very good observation, sir.
Yeah, thank you. And I will be giving to KPFT.
I appreciate that. Don't forget to give in the name of politics done right. That is our to make sure we're big. But man, Derek, I had not thought about that. Anyway, thank you, brother. You have a good day. Let's go to Dawn. Dawn, you're on.
Hello, Alberto. Can you hear me?
Yes, Dawn, I can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I
okay,
can.
great. Thank you. This is the first time I've had a chance to call. I'm a teacher and I listen to you every morning, but I'm just busy getting ready for school. But I know this topic came up. I just wanted to add a little bit to it about the recent conflict. I'm Muslim, person, a member of the Houston area. And I just wanted to encourage everyone to find, like you said, alternate sources of information, because there are always two sides to an issue. And, we have many friends who are Palestinian, and the stories they tell us of their lives and their families' lives are so hard. And I just think that we as Americans need to, I guess, branch out and try to learn more about other places.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there, and as well as, just like I said, have friends that are from that area. And so I think that, what your previous caller said are true. And I think that I appreciate that you said there are certain sources of information that are better than others. Commentaries. So that's all I'm saying, is I just hope that everyone can find out all the information they can. Maybe those sources are not always the best. We're not always told the full story. Thank you so much.
Thank you so kindly for your call, Dawn, and absolutely so, and we'll continue to do that. And please, Dawn, you do that as well. Let people know their alternate sources, including right here at KPFT. Thank you so kindly for calling.
I do. Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful day. All right, folks, I'm going to throw it right back to the studio. But before I throw it to the studio, remember, you can go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter for all the subjects that were to cover today that we didn't. Hey, Howard.
Oh, Lord, I'm just sitting here asleep with not giving you time cues. I'm sorry about that.
Come on, man. I love you, brother. Come on.
Yeah, I was listening into your show, and another fine show for the books, and we appreciate you, and Will, too. Will, good to hear your voice. Nothing here to add, but I think Jack has some wisdom for us.
Brother Jack.
On the subject of Israel, they've operated a really ruthless, cruel government since its inception, and I'm not down with it.
All right, folks, that was Howard. That was Jack. I want to thank Howard and Jack for the great work in the studio. And folks, I thank you so kindly for your ears. Thank you so kindly for calling in. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.